Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's start out with a little warm-up, and we will start with the defense attorney. Ready? Here we go. Have you ever communicated with Tom Conley? Yes, sir. When did you first communicate with Tom Conley after you left Tilton? Once about the first part of May. Did you phone him? Yes, I did. What did you say to him? I had gotten some information that he had left Tilton, and upon calling him at home, I found out that this was wrong, that he was still in their employ. What was the purpose of your call? If he had left, I was going to discuss with him possible employment. Where did you hear that he had left Tilton? Through one of the employment agencies. Which one? I don't recall. Did you talk to him at any other time after that? Yes, sir. When was that? After he had left Tilton. And what did you talk to him about? If he had any interest in joining our sales team. What did he say? He didn't think so. In your first conversation, did he indicate that he would be interested in working for Victory? He was non-committal. What kind of a job did you have in mind for Tom Conley? Sales trainee. Did you ever discuss a sales supervisory job with him at Victory? No, sir. Where did you call him from in the first call? Houston, as I remember. Did you ever have lunch with him after you had left Tilton? No, sir. You only called him twice? To my recollection, yes, sir. Right, now we'll get to some four-voice practice with our transcript. And we will start with the plaintiff attorney. Ready? Here we go. You haven't been down there? Not recently, no. Do you have a recollection of seeing that fence on any of your trips down the easement? No. Is there any fencing today on the west end of the easement? I couldn't tell you that either. Is there any fencing to the north and to the west of your property on the easement? Yes, there is. And do you know when that fence was placed there? A year and a half ago, right when the railroad came in here and built this whole area up. At any time, were you ever aware of, or did you ever see any railroad tracks on the easement area? Never. And when you say you don't have a recollection of anyone ever using that easement, is that from your own personal observation? Nobody has ever used it except us since 1982. I've been there since 1982, and nobody has ever done anything to it or used it, done any improvements or done anything to it. One more thing, except some dirt that was dumped on it about 2 or 3 years ago. And are you there 7 days a week? No, I'm not. 5, 6 days. And that's as a result of your working in your business there? That's correct. I'm going to take a quick break. I can tell you one thing. I used to live across the street here for a couple of years, so I watched the property on a daily basis. When did you live there? It was back in 1986. How long did you live there? About a year and a half, 2 years. Okay, let's take a quick break. Back on the record, you indicated that you purchased the property from your parents back in 1980. Did you obtain a deed from your parents? Yes, we did. And did you record the deed? No, it's not. Is it still unrecorded today? Yes, it is. The deed was from both your parents to you? That's correct. It's to the corporation. Excuse me. Would you be willing to produce a copy of the deed? Sure. Could we just do it informally? Could we just send me a copy? Is there a reason you haven't recorded the deed? No, no reason why. When you purchased the property from your parents, did you have a purchase agreement? Yes, we did. And did that call for some installment payments? Yes, it did. And have you paid that off? Yes, we have. Since you started the business, has your mother been involved in the business at all? No, she hasn't. Was she ever involved in the business? Yes, she was. When did she cease becoming involved in the business? About 1987, I believe. You were saying earlier, and I'll direct your attention to the arrow A, that you would pull trucks into that area and then back into your yard. Do you recall that testimony? Yes, I do. And I'll show you an aerial photo which I would represent to you was taken on May 6th, 1990. I have a photocopy of it that I'll mark as Exhibit 1. If you look at that photograph, I will point to a place that I'll represent to you I believe is your shop. Does that help you identify the location of that? Yeah. And does that appear to be a correct depiction of your shop? That's correct. I have marked as Exhibit 3 a photocopy. I'll bet not that good, but all I'm going to mark for the deposition is Exhibit 3. And would you mark on Exhibit 3? I'll give you a red pin. That area where you backed your trucks up that you marked as A. Let me tell you something first of all. On the area I'm going to show you, first of all, we used it occasionally, not every day. We use it every day now. We have for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. This area right here, we'd pull the trucks in and we'd either back them up here or back them in here. This doesn't show it, but it goes up a straight grade right in this area right here. So we'd either back them in here or pull them in there, and then we'd back them right in the yard there. Would you put an A in that area where the A on Exhibit 2 was indicated? Yes. So what you're indicating to me is that in Exhibit A you would mark across what appears to be some dark grass. There was a slight grade here. This wasn't like this. There was an actual slight grade of a road there. The reason why it's not like the rest of it is because it wasn't used every day. This road was used every day. That's why it looks like that. Put a P by the second arrow there. The other reason it was used like that is a lot of people drove up in here. I don't know why they went up in there to ride motorcycles or dump trash or whatever. That's the only access to this property at this time. There was no other access to this property at all except going back through this area. Is it fair to say that the most common use of your vehicles, as you've indicated, is to the B location? We never went as far as that. The arrow you've drawn, which you put a B by, we used that more often than we did that area, and A was used very seldom. Yeah. I don't have anything further. Do you have anything? Yes, thank you. I have just a few questions. I appreciate the opportunity to clarify a few things. You mentioned that 2 to 3 years ago somebody had placed a lot of dirt on the west end of the easement property. Is that correct? It wouldn't be the west end. Oh, the easement? Yes, it would be the south side of the easement. The south side at the west or all along the whole south side of the easement, excuse me, it would be the east side of the easement. On the south side of the easement, the southeast side of the easement is where all the dirt was placed. Are you saying there wasn't any dirt placed anywhere on the west end of the easement? No. Yes, you are saying that. I'm saying that. Do you know who put the dirt on what you're calling the south side? The Elliots did. The Elliots put that there. It's the southeast side. What you're saying is the abandoned railroad property? Yes, I think that's what we're calling the easement property. It's all in this area right up in here. I don't know if you want me to draw on it or not. He hasn't asked you to yet. If he asks you to, then do it. I don't want to clutter it up. It's all this area up here. No dirt was put back in here at all. Do you see the line that's on the easement property that runs along in a curve? That line, when you just showed me where the dirt was, you went considerably south of that. Right here, this whole area right here. Let's note that Mr. Miller is pointing principally to an area that's south of the easement. Is that correct? Excuse me, there's some dirt that goes on the easement itself. I'd say it's approximately half the easement, maybe a little more. Half has dirt on it. This whole area up here. And the dirt also was put south of the easement. Is that correct? Yes, it was. All the way down to the liquor store in the corner, the dirt was put all of the way into this whole area right here. Is that the same area where the fence was erected? That's correct. The fence was erected there. If I understand correctly, you said you have a pretty good idea of what was happening in respect to the easement property since 1982. That's correct. But that would be since you were still in high school. That's correct. Yeah, I was 16 years old at the time. Were you working with your father at that time? Yes, I did. That's the time I helped him build that business there. We did most of the work in the summer. The Rancho fence you mentioned that the Elliots had put up and had also taken it down. It's no longer there. When did they take it down? I couldn't give you. Can you approximate? I would say within the last year. Within the last year it was taken down. Yes. And how long before that was it put up? Probably 3 or 4 years. It was up for 3 or 4 years. That's your best estimate? Yes. Do you have any idea why the property that your business is on is called Government Lot 7 on the map? That is Exhibit A. I have no idea. You don't know. Do you know how your father obtained title to the property? He purchased it and bought it, but you don't know who he brought it from? I sure don't. Is Martha Miller your mother? Yes, she is. And she's still living? Yes, she is. I'm not sure of this part. I had a question that I needed clarification on. I think you said that 1 to 1.5 years ago the railroad came in and fenced the whole north side up. Did you say that? They fenced, yes. That would be the northwest side of the area you're talking about. And that will conclude our Q&A practice.